It began with a light no one had ever seen before, a flash so bright it swallowed the desert. For a split second, night turned into day, and the world held its breath. The man standing 4 miles away could see his own skeleton glowing beneath his skin, just like an X-ray. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. He wanted to look away, but his body froze. What happens when a human stands against the power of a small sun? Before we uncover the truth, make sure you subscribe to JetForce USA, because what you're about to hear isn't a movie. It's what nuclear energy really does to flesh, bone, and time itself. The story of the nuclear explosion began in 1945, inside a test site called Trinity, in the desert of New Mexico. Scientists weren't fully certain what would happen when the first atomic bomb detonated. Some even feared it might ignite the atmosphere itself. The bomb released energy equal to 20,000 tons of TNT. When it exploded, temperatures at the center rose to more than 100 million degrees Celsius, hotter than the surface of the sun. Every molecule of air was ripped apart, and the blast wave raced outward faster than sound. Those few miles away felt a pressure so violent it shattered windows 160 kilometers distant. But the real horror wasn't the explosion. It was what that energy did to the human body. In the first millionth of a second, gamma rays and neutrons flooded everything. Human skin exposed to that radiation doesn't just burn, it ionizes. Cells rupture instantly, and DNA breaks apart like torn paper. A person standing within 1 kilometer of the blast would be vaporized before even feeling pain. The heat front could reach 10,000 degrees Celsius, enough to melt concrete and turn bone into dust. For those slightly farther away, skin would ignite, clothing would fuse into flesh, eyeballs would boil from intense light, a blinding white that carried invisible death. After the flash comes the shock wave, a wall of compressed air, moving faster than 1,000 kilometers per hour. It crushes lungs, ruptures eardrums, and throws bodies like rag dolls. Even sturdy buildings crumble as the wave reflects and amplifies through streets. The difference between life and death depends on milliseconds. Anyone lying flat might survive the initial blast, but the vacuum that follows sucks oxygen away, leaving survivors gasping in radioactive dust. Scientists studying test dummies found pressure strong enough to break every rib at once. The human body, built for gravity and air, is no match for an atmosphere-turned weapon. Then comes thermal radiation, 3 times deadlier than the shockwave. Everything flammable ignites: wood, paper, even hair. In Hiroshima, shadows of people were burned permanently onto walls, their bodies acting as momentary shields before evaporating. The air becomes a furnace. Fires join into a tornado of flame that consumes oxygen. Temperatures reach 1,500 degrees Celsius across entire neighborhoods. Those who survive the blast crawl toward rivers, their skin hanging loose like melted wax. It's horrifying, yet scientifically, every layer of tissue reveals a timeline of heat transfer, from epidermis charring in 0.2 seconds to muscle carbonizing within 2. Long after the fire fades, the radiation remains. Invisible particles seep into soil, metal, and blood. Survivors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki showed a pattern called acute radiation syndrome, ARS: nausea, fever, hair loss, bleeding gums. Inside the body, bone marrow collapses, red blood cells vanish, and the immune system dies quietly. Scientists later discovered that a single remnant of plutonium, smaller than a grain of sand, could deliver lethal radiation for centuries. Yet from this tragedy, doctors learned the biological limits of the human body, knowledge that now protects nuclear engineers, astronauts, and even medical patients during radiation therapy. As the mushroom cloud rises, it carries dust and debris miles high. Within hours, radioactive ash begins to fall like black snow. Each particle emits alpha, beta, and gamma radiation. Breathing it is like swallowing microscopic bullets. Fallout can contaminate water hundreds of kilometers away, mutating DNA in animals and humans alike. Decades later, studies found children born near test sites with higher cancer rates and genetic defects. The Earth itself becomes scarred, a grim reminder that human curiosity and destruction often walk hand in hand. Could anyone survive a nuclear explosion? Surprisingly, yes, if they're far enough and shielded by dense materials. Concrete, lead, and even water absorb radiation effectively. A person inside a strong underground bunker could endure the initial blast, though not without risk. Experiments show that being inside a subway tunnel or behind multiple concrete walls reduces radiation exposure by up to 90%. Time, distance, and shielding. The 3 golden rules of nuclear survival were born from the painful lessons of early tests. Modern militaries train pilots and crews to respond instantly to nuclear alarms, using reinforced aircraft and automatic shielding systems. But what if, instead of a human, it was a fighter jet flying too close to the explosion? That's where JetForce USA steps in. The shockwave would tear through the jet's body like paper, instruments fried by electromagnetic pulse. The air itself becomes plasma, lifting and twisting metal as if it were cloth. Yet experimental aircraft built with advanced carbon composites and radiation-resistant electronics could, in theory, survive at the edge of the blast zone. It's a race between engineering and annihilation. How close can technology fly to the weapon that defines extinction? In the end, the story of a human versus a nuclear explosion isn't just about destruction. It's about understanding our limits. The same science that created the bomb also powers our cities, our spacecraft, even the reactors on modern carriers and submarines. The difference lies in control. The man who saw his skeleton glowing in the flash lived to describe it, trembling but alive. He said, "I felt I had witnessed death and yet creation." That's the paradox of the atom. Within it lies the power to end all life or to light the stars. So before you leave, hit that subscribe button, because the next story from JetForce USA will take you even deeper, where speed, fire, and science meet the edge of human survival.